Hi there, I will be doing my final film analysis on Amadeus. Amadeus is a film based on Peter Shaffer's original screenplay from 1979 of the same title. It is a fictionalized account of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's life in Vienna, told from the point of view of Antonio Salieri, a court composer and jealous contemporary of Mozart. The name Amadeus means love of God, derived from the Latin words to love and God. This is an apt title because despite being about Mozart, the film is ultimately driven by the flashbacks of the unreliable narrator Salieri, who has denounced God after he failed to give him divine talent of music he has so desired his entire life. He denounces God after getting to know Mozart, who in his eyes is a vulgar, childlike buffoon who has the voice of God, through his composing. Salieri cannot be trusted as an accurate narrator because of his skewed contempt towards the genius. Not to mention, Salieri is telling the story from his confinement at an insane asylum, where ironically the story is guided as he gives his confessional to a young priest. Salieri, played by F. Murray Abraham, gives a chilling and captivating performance as the insane composer, with his grimacing smile, blackened mouth and eyes, and bandaged neck to boot, making him the perfect evil antagonist. The movie is completely driven by Salieri's flashbacks. One way the film may be more successful in giving a more intimate account than the play is through the use of diegetic and non-diegetic music. The technique of blending the two really brings to life Mozart's characteristic genius and to some extent Salieri's, who can also hear music in his head. For example, in a number of scenes, music in Mozart's head literally drowns out what's going on in a scene. Like when the rent lady yells at him, it turns into a beautifully shrill piece of orchestral music. Diegetic sounds become non-diegetic music. Or in demonstrating a piece of Mozart's on his desk, it is first silent, then Salieri literally loses himself to the music, and from his head the orchestral piece comes to life for the audience as nearly non-diegetic, except that Salieri can hear it too. Without any sound at all, Salieri would have looked like a crazy person. Not that he isn't, but for the duration of the film, we are brought into his world through the different techniques of sound and sight. The movie's accessibility to modern audiences was due to the fact Mozart is portrayed like a true rock star, the booze, the parties, and the music. He is even reminiscent of modern-day Disney child stars, whose early fame ultimately dooms their adult life. Mozart is portrayed like this again because of our unreliable narrator. This film is not meant to be an accurate historical account. It's Salieri's skewed account, so it forgoes strict detail for the sake of visual and dramatic storytelling. The film works so well because it recognizes the fact that any depiction of Mozart's life will be a dramatization because little is known of his real life. So why not give the fiction a reason for being fictionally skewed? What Salieri finds so distasteful about Mozart is likely dramatized in his memory, which makes the story all the more fascinating on a number of levels. How can a person be so incredibly talented, but be a complete and utter drunk child in the rest of his life? Amadeus is like watching a train wreck. I couldn't look away from the destructive jealousy of Salieri or Mozart's complete obliviousness, which is impressive because the film length is about 3 hours long. The excessive and elaborated costumes, the gaudy makeup and powdered wigs, the grand joie and extravagant court scenes filled with rich romantic music of the classical era made the film a total sensory experience. This film is a perfect knockout when it comes to filmmaking. Nowhere does it lack in visually, orally, acting, the costume, makeup, set design, nor in the production, and it ultimately takes possibly a dull historical account and capitalizes on the fiction aspect to orchestrate the narrative into a modern rock star account of Mozart. No pun intended. Thank you.